Hello, welcome back again. Now we're at the videos tutorial on Python Django tutorial number 6. So in as I said, you know, this video tutorial segment of video tutorial, we're going to talk about how to get the data from dynamic data from database and then get that present that into onto the website. Okay, so to do this, let's go back to the book so at least we can look at the. So in Django, actually has a very strict, rigid setting on this. So what we talk about in a traditional way about design approach is you need a model, and then it's what we call model view control. Okay, so this is a model view and control, right? So the model models the data, view is present the data, and then control ties this together. So in a way, you logically you really is you should look at this way, right? So basically, model, view, and the control is almost like a arbiter, to manage these, right? So that's what this. So the first thing we need to do is really to create a model. In this for this class, the Tango with Django book actually talked about is a category with a page. Basically, the category is the most favorite website, breakdown by category, and then the page is where the web page is. I kind of feel the word page gets easy to gets confused with the real web page. So I did some modification to this example, and what we're going to do is the model will be category, and then we have is actually I call courses. So basically, training or education courses were break down by category. Okay, so here is our model. Now this is what the textbook says, but this is what I have. So we have a category, right? The category has a name, has a description, it has integer. Uh, it should be integer. Sorry, my typo is wrong. It has an integer field. Is it basically collected how many times in the future we're going to use this to say to record how many times is being viewed. Okay. Slugger is actually a very interesting attribute we're going to talk about a bit later. And then you have a status, which there's a reason why we put this attribute here. We'll talk about later. And then you have the timestamp for creating when the record is created, and then the record is updated. Okay, these are actually real Python Django framework syntaxes, but it kind of I leave it down to show you some of the basic attributes, defaults, right? The unique, it has to be unique. It can't accept the blank. If you don't enter anything, it will, leave. It will accept as blank, and so on and so forth, right? And then under the category is actually has many courses, right? Under that category, so that's why this error says, right? So it's really one or n number of these records. The category has we're gonna leave the category side. Okay, has a title. I'm sorry. The course has a title. Also, it has a URL points to the URL page of that particular record. Course. We have a URL page for the course introduction, right? And you have the summary for the course, and the phone number. Now, it doesn't really make any sense to have a training course has a phone number, but I leave it. I deliberately leave this out, put this in, so I can show you down the road how we can do the phone field validations and other things. So I leave it out, even though it doesn't make any sense, but I put it in just to show visually how this some of the things we can do. Okay, and also there's a starting date, which is when the course is going to be started. Okay, and then it also has an attribute called has certification, which is a Boolean field says if it's, if the course has a certification program or not. Again, we have a status, and we have same thing. We have a view which record how many times the record has been viewed by the other. Okay. Now let's go back to look at this particular field. It's very important. The course has a field called category, which really is when in the table it's actually called category ID. It says it's a foreign key. What it is trying to tell the Django framework is to say, hey, Django framework, I have this field holds the ID to the category. That's how these two being tied together. Because otherwise, how else we would know the which this course belong to which category? You know what I mean? So that's how it tied together. We will see in the database once it's generated, you can see the, you know, the, where this being stored. Okay, so this is also very important statement. Django provides simple mechanisms allow us to relate model and database table together. These mechanisms are encapsulated in three further field types and are listed below. Foreign key, which is this, right? A, a field type that allows us to create a one-to-many relationship. So basically, this says, you know, I'm one of, a record referenced category, right? So category is one, this is many, this is many, okay? Course is many, right? So that's the 40, one to many, okay? The one to one field basically enforces this only has, a strict one to one relationship, okay? And then many to many is the field type, which allows us to define many to many relationship, right? Okay, so that's what the these three type is. We're using foreign key because again, this means course is one of the n number of records might be one to many records belong to a single category. Okay, so now we're gonna write a code. Okay, we create a model. I'm gonna write a code. Okay, so to save time, I'm gonna just copy paste from what I have before. So let me put this here. Okay, so this is what it look like. Right. Okay, so now one thing I wanted to talk about is auto slug field and the slug. Okay, so let me just do a quick. I just want to make sure. All right, now in the what I wanted to make sure is this is a new component. To do this, you would actually need to do a pip install this. I already have this installed already, okay? So you would actually have to do this install. And I explain to you what this is for, okay? Just said. So you would okay. So it really I already have it installed, but you need to install this, which is used by this. Now, what this is for is this. Think about this, folks. When I'm doing this, right? The idea is to create a web page where it has all the catalogs. Here, let me start it. Okay. So the idea is to have a page like this: cat one, cat two, cat three, cat four, right? And when you click on that, then it will go to the detailed page of the catalog one. If I click on the cat two and then go to the catalog two page, that's how the website we want to build. Now, how do I get from here? Click, go to the next one, right? Well, I need a link to go to the next page. So the the idea is to say, how do I make this link to the next page? So I create a field in the catalog, which what it does is it says populating from the name. So I'll take the name and then turn them into a character string where I can use as a URL. So it will be similar to this. It will be ring like this, you know. Assuming the category is called web programming, right? Web development. So it'll be like this. So then when you click when you hit return, it actually will have the page of cate- category of web development, right? So that's what what we want to do now. In reality, when you enter the name, right, you don't enter as this. You actually entered as this, right? Web space development. But if I just use the name as it is, it won't work because the URL won't accept it because the URL won't accept the space in between. So the slogger field actually does is it just fill this in with a dash. Okay. Now this is a simple way. Now this will work, right? So that's what auto slug field does. However, though, there are cases that becomes much complicated. And a good example is this, right? This URL won't accept the plus plus either. So this needs to be converted. So now when you convert this, it becomes this. But what if I have a category, training category called C programming, right? If you have, let's say, you know, C++ programming, right? That would be a category. So when you do this, when the name will be auto slug field, right? When I convert, as I said, any non URL non-compliant characters will be converted to a dash. So it'd be like this, right? And then uh, actually actually it's more like this. They will replace that with space with just one, right? And or if I do C sharp. That's another good example of it. So then it will become like this. So and so I have duplicate. How do you solve that, right? So all these are taken care of by auto select field. It actually wanted to be it will when you say unique is equal true, it actually will do like this. That's the first one, and then this is for if you do C programming, then it will do it converts to this. When you do C sharp programming, right? It converts to same thing here, but it adds two to this. Okay, all right. So that's what the auto slug field does. Basically, it converts English phrase into a displayable legal accepted URL. By doing is what it does is convert all these non URL accepted characters into a dash and connect them together. And if there's a repeat, then unique you set the unique equal to true, and then it will have an internal counter to bump the counter. Okay, so that's what this does. We will see that once. Okay, so that's the first object. The second is the course. Okay, so the course is a little bit simpler. So we have all this. You can look through this. We basically you do this is by model, and Django is pretty good at this. The model has a numerous different all different fields you can define, which provide a default validation for you already. So you know a good example is URL field. If you enter a wrong non-URL compliant value, this validation will kick in, and then it will flag you says it's not good. And some of the other things like uh, this here create at, it has a datetime field, right? It it will says auto now added. So when the record was added, you will take the current time and set the flag. And if for the update attribute, you can set says auto now. So when every time when the record is updated, the Django internal framework will update this field with a timestamp at the moment in time. Okay, this is for only for created. This is for updated. So some of the things you can now you can look at the Django online framework, the document to see this. So we'll do this. Okay, Django model. So you can take a look at this. So these are the all these are the different fields. Okay, you can look at this text fields and so on. So a URL field, right? So that's all it is. Okay. Now we did the first. We create a model. Now once you did this, right? Next step is we needed to actually make this happen in the database. Now we define a model, so we will have to, because we use database to host this, right? So the way you do this in Django is first of all, you need to tell Django in the settings.py, there's a field called database. You need to fill the database information. So we're using SQLite 3. So, that it's the simplest one, so just for teaching purposes, okay? So now, how do we do this? Well, there is a command to do this. The command to do this is this. It's called making the migration. Okay, it's the Django making my. It's the command is this. Is you need to be in the project directory. Okay, so we'll go to the Tango with Django. Right. So the command actually to make this is actually called Python manage.py, and then you say make migration. Okay, what this does is it takes the Python model source code, and then it will generate a SQL statement, a script. Basically, once you generate it, then you will run another set of script to actually create a physical database. Okay, so that's what really is. If you look at the current database, let me show you the current database. Okay, so we'll do the look at the current database. So in the current database, this is the current database. Okay, you see it's a YouTube 5 workspace. If you look at the current database, there's nothing in it. If you look at this, right, there's nothing in it. Current database only has a migration, has a SQLite sequence. There's nothing in it. So we need to run. First step is to make the migration. Stands for making the migration script. Okay, so I will run this. Let me do. Why is this not? 20 seconds. Okay, now it sees two models. You see this, right? It created a model, right? So if you look at this, these are the two models. If I was going to have another model, it will say here, okay? But anyway, it creates the migration, meaning migrate from the description of the model to generate a script, which will, when you run it, it will create the physical table in the database. So we made a migration script. The next step is actually to migrate. Okay, so there are really two steps. Okay. Okay, so if I do this, it will run the script generated by make migration and create a physical table. Okay, see this? That creates it. Okay, now it's done. All went okay. So if I come over to the databases, let me refresh this so at least you can see it. Right? So No, look at this, the table, right? And then notice the two matching ones here. See this? Category and course. Notice now, they all, the way Django handle this is always prefix the model name with the application name. Okay, if I was going to have another application, it will be application 2 underscore something something. Okay, so always remember that's how you tell the table belong to what. Now, if you look at the attributes, pretty much everything is what I have, right? The name wise matching, and there are some changes, but we can talk about it separately, okay? So, all right, that's the table, okay? If you look at this, it actually matches the what we have here, okay? So now I have the table, right? The next thing I need to do is actually now I created. How am I supposed to? How do I know it's actually uh, I can see it from the Django application. We're going to implement the actually how to take the content out of the database we just created, and then in our website, you can add it to it and display it. But for now, what we're going to do is actually to show you one of the very interesting piece of functionality in Django, which is Django comes with a very cool thing called an administration application. Basically allows you to manage the overall project. The entire project administration can be done through the administration application. Okay, so how do we do? How do we access that? The way you access this is by enter. This is your URL, right? Our application is Django. But how do you get to the administration application? You do the admin. That's the URL, okay? Uh, you hit this. It actually, sorry, let me start this, okay? So if I hit this, no, that's where, if I hit this, the admin, right? So that's what it is, okay? Now, uh, you can say, how do I know actually, why would this show up? I didn't tell the Django to do it. Well, actually, here is what you did. In the URL, at the root, at the project URL level, you said if it's admin, you call admin applications. Okay, that's how you direct Django to. You told Django to do. If you don't want to show this, and you will just remove this. That's what you do. Okay, but you know, I choose to have it to make a point, right? So we have this. Now, I try to log in and nothing works because I don't have account. So what you do to create I call super user account is this. You use command line. Remember I said the manage.py has a lot of use. So we do this, okay? Create super user. So that's how you do it. You create a super user so okay, you log into as an admin, okay? So create super user. So I am gonna use is admin. You don't need to enter anything here. If you want to, you can skip it. So I'll skip, and I'll enter a password. That's it. So I create a super user. Now I come over here, and I will do an admin. Right? I'm gonna log in. There you go. So now I'm at the administration. But now I can add a user here. Okay, and I can add a user to it. And right now there's not a whole lot in it. The reason for that is I have not registered anything to tell the administration to do anything. It's start from blank. Now, if we want to get a fancy, we can do one thing though. We can do is actually tell uh, tell admin application to also present our model, the object created through our model. We can do that because the creator of the application, the administration admin application, has built some inside hook to it to allow us to actually pass our model information to admin application, and the admin application will display the a page, allow us to really look at our object. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, it's actually extremely easy. All you need to do is come over to the admin module. You see here, when we create an application, by default, it actually creates a admin module, okay? There's nothing in it. So all we needed to do is to register our object in here, our model here, okay? So what we do is here, let me copy paste this, it's much easier. So all we needed to do is this. Okay, so we do this, right? So we will, so we just need to register our model the in the admin site. And the idea is once we registered, it will show up on the admin application. So we actually can create some records or do something with this, right? So if I go back to the admin page, if I refresh, what will happen? Well, let's see. Oh, okay. So I have to restart it. Sorry, because I set it the flag to non-reload. So I have to restart this. Remember now, every time I make Python changes, I have to reload it. Okay, restart it. So if I refresh this, look at this. It's the application, and then the model we created, it actually shows up here. So guess what? I actually, if I want to, I can create a, 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 a data a mod object here, right? So if I do a category, let's just for discussion sake, uh, you know, we'll do this network security, right? Uh, you know, so we can type in something just for the heck of it, right? So that's the category of a training course called network security. So we save it, right? So now we have one, right? So then we'll go back, right? And then we'll create a course, you know, right? So we'll pick a network security, okay? So we'll do a Cisco virtual, okay? I already pre-populated some, so it's easier for me to. So, so the page to that is actually in the Oracle training course. We'll just pick one, okay? So it's so, all right. So just again, so the phone numbers, we'll just so we can populate this, okay? And the starting date, or I'll just pick one starting date, right? Has certificate, yes. So I save it. Okay, now I have the records. Look at this. So I have records here, right? And I also have, uh, records with a course. Okay, so if you look at this from category network security, it also, you can update and so on and so forth. So that's how you basically you can do this without really writing anything else, any pages. You'll be able to do this. But the downside is though, you have to create a user and then be able to get to the admin page, right? Which really, handicapped what a lot of things we can do. Because the idea is this: we want to do this without login, without go through the login process, or even with the login, it has to have our own brand, right? So the idea is, so from Rango, this will display the catalogs, allow me add I'm sorry, categories, allow me to add the categories as well as adding pages. So that's the next video segment. All right, so we're going to talk about how do we we're going to do the same thing that we did on and do the same copy, not copy, actually try to do what admin does for us. We'll present our own version of display all the categories, and also display the category pages as well as associate courses. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in the next video segment. Thank you for watching.